Alright, welcome back. And in the last time we added this enemy into the game. And this time we need to fix up the enemy because we just gave him some basic simple code just to see if he can move. This time we're going to fix it up and we're going to make it way better. So I put out a clip from one of my games that I'm building. I'm kind of going to build the enemy system just like I built in that game. So what's going to happen is when you get, when he sees you, he's going to pop up on your HUD like a picture of him, and then it'll give his stats like his health as you fight him. Pretty much that's what we want to happen. So we're going to set that up, and it's going to take a while. This might not be done this video, or this might just be a very long video, but we'll see. I might break it up. Either way, let's jump in and get started. The first thing that we need to do is we need to go to our HUD and our main HUD. So third person blueprints HUD. And there should be the main HUD here. Alright, for the main HUD, first thing we need to do is go on the graph. And for the event graph, we've got the third person game mode. Let's cast to our third person character as well and get the character ref. Okay, compile and save. Alright, so cool. And that junk code was what we left there last time, and we were like, we might not use it, but now we are using it. So now you got your main HUD graph done. That's all we needed for that. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is we need to make sure we remember this is called character ref. Next thing we need to do is go back to our designer and let's add a canvas panel to our HUD. You can take it and just drag it right onto your HUD. And I'm gonna make mine about this big. It's right here. I'm gonna anchor it to the left here. And for the canvas panel, I want to wrap it with a scroll box. There we go. Cool. And then also, actually, you know what? Don't do that. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and put a vertical box here first, and we're going to wrap that with a scroll box. So put a vertical box underneath your canvas panel or on top of your canvas panel, and wrap that with a scroll box. There we go. We'll make it as big as, like, right, the vertical box. Scroll box. It's about right there. Okay, I think that's good. What you want to do though is make sure your vertical box is a variable. So check this button right here, is variable, and we'll call it something. We'll call this the enemy list. Enemy list. All right. Compile and save. Now we got that. Now we got that. What we need to do now is, so we got the scroll box. Let's take this scroll box and do it to the whole thing. There we go. Enemy list is right here at the top. Right there. Perfect. Compile. Compile, save. Next thing that we need to do, since we got that all done, we can close that down. Alright, if we want our character to be able to patrol back and forth, like maybe we want them to be able to walk here and walk back, and walk here and walk back, we need to set up some like control points so they can go to. So, in your characters, in your alien, or your new character, let's right click and let's make a new blueprint class and call it actor. An actor that's going to be called control points. underscore BP. Now you can open that up, and what we're going to do is add a static mesh. And it could be anything. I'm going to put mine as like a cube. And you can make it smaller as well. It doesn't have to be super big. Now in the game, we're going to make these invisible. But for testing, we'll just leave them visible. For this, you don't have to really do anything else here. This is fine. So you can X out of that. Now we have some control points. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is go into our third person character. So go to your third person character, and we'll add a few things here to get started. So let's look for their begin play. Begin play is way up here. Okay, so we've got the game mode reference going on. Here's something that we need to do right here. For the HUD, let's go ahead and promote this to a variable. So right click on this little blue pin and say promote to variable. And we're going to call this the HUD reference. So HUD ref. And then you just hook it in right in between. You can even hook the blue up here, so add to the viewport. Alright. Compile and save. And that's good there. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to create another widget. So we want, on the main HUD, we want another widget to come up, which is going to be the enemy stats. So go back to your enemy character. And in here, we're going to create the enemy list UI. So on the user face interface, or the user interface, click on widget blueprint, user widget, and we're going to call this one enemy list underscore UI. Double click on that. And the first thing that we're going to need to add is a canvas panel. Okay. Drop your canvas panel on, click on your canvas panel, and where it says screen size fill screen, change that fill screen to custom, right? And then you're going to see the width and the height. So for the width, we want the width to be, I think, 300. And the height to be 100. Perfect. Now, on top of this canvas panel, let's put a border or an image, doesn't matter. I'm going to put a border on mine. And I'm going to fill it to the whole screen. Then for the border, I'm going to change my offsets to fill out the whole screen. So change it to 0 on the left, 0 on the top, 0 on the right, and 0 on the bottom. So now it fills out the whole screen. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color. So, content or the brush color. The brush color is what I really want to change. I'm going to bring it down to black, and then I'm going to take the opacity down to like 0.5 or something like that, so you can see through it. Okay, compile and save. Now, the next thing we need to do is put an image right here. So we'll take an image, and we'll put this right here on the border. Now the image, we need to make the image smaller. So, in the X, actually we'll anchor the image to the middle left. So anchor it to middle left. And position X, we're going to put 25. Position Y, we're going to put 0. Size X, we'll put 40 and 40 for size Y. 40 and 40. And then the Y offset 0.5. Alright, cool. So now you've got a picture there. So what you need to do on this picture is we need to make this a variable and call this enemy pick. So this is a variable, but let's call it enemy pick. Enemy pick. Perfect. Next thing that we need to do is add a progress bar right here. So got this border here. Okay. Oh man, so I just messed up my border. My border I need to change back to 0. Everything to 0. And that pick is what I needed to change. Anchor it back to the full screen. Oops. Anchor it back to the full screen. The border needs to be anchored to the full screen. Offsets 0. Alright, there we go. I messed up a little bit, but sometimes it happens, man. It happens. So again, for the picture, make sure you have your picture selected. It's supposed to be mid-left. And the picture, we said, what did we say? 25, 0. 0. Then what do we say? 40 and 40? 40 and 0.5. Okay, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was trying to get. The last thing that we need to do is add a progress bar here. So right here on your border, or on your canvas panels, put a progress bar. And this progress bar, we're going to put it right over here somewhere. But we can just anchor it to the middle right. Perfect. And then another thing, alright, so there's a type, which should say like rounded box. Let's see. Style. There we go. Background image. So this is how you can change the color of your progress bar. Here's the fill and opacity. Usually health is red. So let me just make it red. Okay. And then the percentage, you can play with that. We know that you can play with the progress here. Turn it up, turn it down. Alright. For the border padding, I don't think we need any of that. But there's one more thing that I'm looking for. And it's how the box is drawn. So let me find it real quick. Oh. Here it goes. Alright, so draw as rounded box. There we go. So now I can have my health looking like a rounded box. Like it's supposed to be. And let me see the fill image. Let's go ahead and do the rounded box there. Rounded box. So there we go. And you can stretch it out, or we can size it up. I'm going to size mine up. So I'm going to make it to the middle right for the anchor. My position X, I'm going to say negative 25. My position Y, I'm going to say 0. Size X, let's put it at 150, and size Y 20. 150, 20. And then for the alignment, we're going to have to do 1 on the X and 0.5 on the Y. Perfect. 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 Another thing is we need to make sure it's a variable and call it health. So this is going to be the enemy's health variable. Alright. Perfect. Now, there's a few things that we need to do in the event graph to get set up for that. But before we do that, I'm going to get a picture to put right here. So I'm gonna go to content, and I'm gonna go to my alien character. And let's go to the viewport, right? And I'm just gonna, actually, let's not use this one. Let's use the actual character. So character here. And I'm just gonna snap a quick picture of him. So if you have Windows, this is how I get my quick pictures. I pull up the snipping tool. I say new, and I just want a headshot. So bro's head could be like that. Boom, that's gonna be his picture. I could do that better. I just, they say measure twice and cut once, So that's what I'm trying to do. So there we go. That's a perfect headshot. Save as enemy head. Okay. After you have that picture, what you want to do in your enemy folder, let's bring in that picture. So wherever you just saved it at, bring it into this engine. Mine should be on the desktop, where it says enemy head. Bring it in. Anytime you bring in an outside texture, right click the texture and convert it to a virtual texture. This helps you save size and make sure everything's the same. Perfect. Save. Alright, so we've got all of that set up. Now in our enemy list UI, we need to go into the graph. So for the graph, what we're going to do is we're going to add a variable. Let's add a variable here. So let's add an enemy reference variable. So enemy ref. And then the type in your alien BP. So whatever your character's name was, that's what you should type in. But mine's going to be the alien BP object reference. There we go. Now, for this, what we need to do is for the event construct, so when this widget gets created, we're going to drag off and we're going to set the brush type. So we can delete the pre and we can delete the tick. But on event construct, what we need to do is drag off and say set brush. You probably won't be able to do it there from there. So grab your enemy pick and then drag off of that and say set brush. There you go. Cool. Hook your set brush right on up. And from the in brush part, we need to make this. So we're going to say make slate brush. Make slate brush. Perfect. And then from the enemy ref, right here, get enemy ref. We need to get their picture that's associated with them. And what we'll do is we'll plug it in straight to the image down here. But the thing is, in our enemy ref, I don't think we added a picture variable. So let's open up our enemy ref, which is our alien BP, and let's add a variable. Variable that we want is going to be enemy pick. So add a new variable and we'll call it enemy pick. And the type in texture. Oops, I can't not spell worth of nothing. And it should be a texture 2D. Yep, texture 2D object reference. Compile and save. Now back in your enemy list graph, drag off your enemy ref that we just made and say enemy pick or get enemy pick. Right there. And from there, all you gotta do is drag that enemy pick right into the image. And that way, anytime the enemy has a picture, it's gonna load up here on this part of our widget. Okay. The next thing that we need to do is compile and save. We'll go back to your designer and click on your progress bar. Let's bind this percentage. So go down to where it says progress, click on percent, and then we're going to bind. Create binding. Alright, so here's what we'll do. In the binding, we'll drag off our enemy ref. And we need the health of the enemy. So we haven't given our enemy any health, so let's go back into our enemy character and let's give them health like we did the player. We need a current health, and make sure that it's a float, and then we also need a max health, and also make sure that one's a float. Compile and save. You can set their current health. I'm gonna set mine's over here to 100 and 100 for the max. Now what you also can do is turn these eyeballs on. So these eyeballs means that you can change it up when you're playing the game. So what if I have like 3 enemies and I want them all to have different stats and different pictures and whatnot? Well, these eyeballs will allow me to do that. That just means make the variable public. That's what it's saying. Alright, so let's go ahead and fill out their health now that they have current health and max health. Back in our enemy list UI, off your enemy ref, say get current health. And then we're also going to get the max health. And all we're going to do, just like we did before, is divide it. Divide the current by the max, plug that in, and that should be the health. Okay. Cool. 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 And we haven't set up any of this code for this to work at all. Okay, we just set this up, and that's good. It's like I said, it's going to be a nice little series here setting up our enemy. But I'm going to take you through all this setup stuff first, and then we'll get busy on the next episode. So we're almost done with this one. The next thing that we need to do is in our enemy folder, in our enemy folder, we need to create an enumeration. So right click, I think it's MISC. Okay, blueprints. Blueprints enumeration. That's what we want. And we're going to call this the enemy list. Enemy list. No, we're going to call this the behavior mode. Behavior mode. This is better. So basically, instead of making a behavior tree, like that's how most people control their enemies in video games, we're just going to like, I seen this one tutorial, this dude, Crystal Clear Gaming, and he made a behavior tree without making a behavior tree, and I thought that was genius. So I think that I'm going to show you guys how to do the same thing in this video, or this series. Anyways, click on your behavior mode enumeration, and you'll see it's blank here. We need to add 2 enumerators, 1 and 2. For the first one, we'll call it roam. And for the second one, we'll call it chase player. So we can call the roam one patrol because it's more so what he's going to be doing. So patrol and chase player. And those will be the 2 states or the 2 behaviors that our enemy will have. After you have that filled out, you do not have to do anything else here. You can close that down, save, compile. Alright, let's check how long this video is. Okay. We're getting rather lengthy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it here because I feel like this is a good point to cut off, because when we get into the next episode, it's heavy in the coding section. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to have to add into our enemy BP. But if you follow me up to this point, you should have an enemy UI that looks pretty good, that will pull up on our screen soon. And you should have a little bit of code, a couple variables in your enemy character. There's nothing really to test on this episode, so we'll just have to keep rolling in the next one. But if you have got set up that far, great. Join me in the next one, because I'm done with this one. So I will holla at y'all next time. Peace.